We are live. How's everybody doing? I'm doing kind of a surprise, impromptu. We just decided to go live today. It's Friday. Thought everybody have a good time. So today we are continuing to work on this mermaid piece that I am doing a full tutorial on for the Patreons, our patrons on the Patreon channel. So for those of you who don't know, I have a Patreon channel, and I do my best to try to create as much content as I can for that channel, or for that page. And so we did a vote, I think it was last month or the month before, on what my next tutorial should be, because I already did a tutorial. Oh, let me turn this music down so I can think. I already did a tutorial once, already on my Patreon page, of a portrait that is around here somewhere. I think it's back there. Oh, it's over here. Anyway, and it did really well, and I did a poll to see what everyone else wanted to do for the next subject, and we chose a mermaid. But I went and decided to do the most complicated mermaid ever, so it's still a tutorial, but it's just kind of a very, just explaining my process all the way through. So right now we are in the underpainting layer. We've been in this layer for a while. As you can see, it's a very, very busy piece. We are painting a lot of water foam. There's water crashing over her. Just a lot of things going on. So I'm hoping that everybody that's viewing this or that goes and sees the full tutorial will get an understanding on how some of these more complicated pieces are done. This will probably be the last complicated piece that I do. And then I'm going to start doing more simple stuff. Just because if I'm trying to do tutorials, excuse me, hold on. If I'm trying to do, I just ate some peanuts and they're stuck in my throat. If I'm trying to do tutorials, let's see, can everyone hear me? Let me check, make sure my volume is all good. Yeah. So if I'm trying to do tutorials, I need kind of simpler stuff, I think. That's just a lesson learned for me. This is only the second one, and we kind of, went big. So anyway, how's everybody doing? Alex is here. Faith is over on the couch chilling. We're in my tattoo studio. We kind of switched up the setup a little bit. So yeah, it looks a little bit different. But what's up, Chris? From Munich. Wow. There's somewhere I always wanted to visit. Wow. Okay. So let's get on it. So right now I've been working on her hair. A lot of people always ask me how I do hair, and the truth is, all I do is paint what I see. There's no technique that I use, I don't think. I just keep painting light and shadow until it becomes what it is. Excuse me, guys. I got peanuts stuck in my throat. I just ate some handful of peanuts right before I got on. DC, Art of Jose Lopez Jr. What's up, man? What am I working on? I'm working on this big mermaid piece. Here, I'll show you kind of a sneak peek of where it's going. So there is a lot going on in this. So got a lot of references here. You can see my process. I gather a bunch of references, and I don't know. This one was really cool because how the water crashes over her. I don't know. I found this. There's a photographer that I found from, I think. You know what? I don't want to say because I don't want to misrepresent, but she just had all these interesting mermaids, and I don't know. I thought it would be fun to work on the water. Simtech says finally get to watch from the UK. Okay, you guys ready? Let's get on it. Oh, Alex is bringing in a little backdrop. All right. So if you guys have anything cool to talk about today. Damn, Syntex says he's been watching since 2009. That is when I started. Wow, that's crazy. So that was 11 years ago. Can you believe that? 11 years ago. It's incredible. So a lot has happened since then. I started tattooing and did that for a long time and got to where I was comfortable with it. And now we've opened a tattoo studio of our own. And it's kind of like half tattoo studio, half airbrush studio, half art studio. It's kind of my dream situation. So, what's up, Scott? We've got Alex is actually our apprentice, and he's also the one making all of this happen as far as the, setting up all this kind of thing. I keep forgetting my microphone's right here. Can everybody hear me all right? So yeah, I don't really use a lot of tricks, I don't think. I used to use a lot more tricks. If you guys like, what was it? Simtex says he's been watching me for a long time, and I used to use like different stencil techniques and things like that, and I still value those techniques. I just kind of, over time, I don't know if it was out of necessity or laziness or what it was, but I just stopped using stencils. I just stopped using masking techniques. I just started kind of distilling my process down to just the bare bones minimum. So there's not a lot of like special tricks that I use. In fact, I purposefully don't use any eraser techniques or any like cutting techniques. Like, some people take razor blades and cut textures in like that. Or I purposefully don't use any, of those stencil effects. I think it's because I want to see what happens when it's just my airbrush and just my paint. And I think it's more interesting that way. Not to kind of talk badly about people who use special effects, because I'm one of them. I just or used to be one of them anyway. It's just something I do creatively because I'm more interested in, like, I want to see what happens if I don't use them. Even though it is definitely more complicated. And I've definitely found that my work is kind of, I don't know, it takes on a whole new look when I don't use any of the special effects tricks or anything like that. But yeah, so you guys caught me. I'm working on the hair right now. Like I said, when this is done, I'm going to do a full voiceover tutorial. We're recording the entire process. So these live streams, I'm actually going to cut into the tutorial. So as the tutorial goes on, and I'm kind of talking over it, kind of what is it, like, giving my instructions on my process with voiceover, then we'll actually add these live streams inside of it, so you guys can have some interaction involved with the lesson, and that'll be available on Patreon. But it's taken a minute to get it done. Actually, my buddy Mondo's working on a big painting too right now. He was showing me that last night. So we both got some pretty cool stuff going. And it's funny, he's working on a pinup, not a pinup really, but I guess it's pinup of a hula girl. Very realistic, and he's using the technique that I taught him. So you guys can see how that technique is being used by someone else when he's done with that painting. And I'm talking about Mondo Chromatic right now. My buddy Mondo, he's the one that taught me how to tattoo. We were sharing techniques last night. We were actually talking about theory and just different approaches to both tattooing and airbrushing. Oh, we got some comments coming in. Let me catch up. So Brian Montgomery, new to airbrushing, he's learned so much watching these live streams. Going to be joining the Patreon. Well, thanks, Brian. Appreciate it. Yeah, if you guys have anything that I can help you out with, I know that I definitely, I've thought about this a lot, where I'm like, do people want me to talk more about the stencil stuff, like how to use stencils and whatnot, or do you guys like it when I do my own technique? I don't know. I watt a micron. Yeah, I'm using a micron right now. It's been a while since I've used a micron. It was good to get back into it. Actually, have you guys seen my gold Eclipse? I think it's over here somewhere. Where'd it go? Yeah, right here. It's got my keys on top of it. Anyway, here's my gold Eclipse. It was sitting over here, and I guess when I came down, I threw my keys on top of it. But it's not set up right now, obviously. So my station is now set up over against one of our like half walls, and when I come in, I just kind of toss my keys over the side. Didn't even realize my airbrush was sitting down there. Argentina in the house. What's up? Alright, I'm going to try to do some painting. I get distracted when I'm talking a lot. I don't want to... If you guys were here the other night, this past Sunday, I had my buddy Brady in town, and we kind of did a little paint party with him. He was helping out a lot and giving some advice. Hanging out with everybody. We were doing dad jokes all night long. Telling dad jokes. And so everybody was, if you weren't here, a lot of people were commenting in and telling us all dad jokes, and it was a good time. Yeah, today was definitely a surprise live stream. We just decided earlier to do it because we've been talking a lot about whether we should stream on Friday nights or whether we should stream on Sunday nights. And I think what we might decide on is we're going to do our private Patreon streams on Sunday nights, followed by a public stream Sunday night, and then Friday nights whenever I'm not tattooing, because a lot of times I have tattoo sessions that go very, very late. But if I don't have a late tattoo session, I'll do some of these impromptu kind of public streams on Friday nights. And then we'll just build out from there and kind of fill it out and see how things are going. And I try to vary the subject matter. My last stream was just me kind of freehand painting a Hanya mask. You know, it's just always something different, whatever I feel like doing. And today I knew I needed to work on this mermaid, so that's what we're doing. What paints do I prefer working with? I use Createx illustration colors. Pretty much primarily I use Createx, especially more primarily their illustration colors specifically. I really love the Tim Gore line of paints. So this is actually a color that I made up myself. I actually took and I just mixed it up and put a label on it. But this is a homemade color that I just mixed up myself. This hair, I definitely is like some complicated stuff, man. But what I do is I use this kind of ground layer, this what I call the underpainting, to figure out where all the parts of the painting are, and then on top of that, that's when I start adding details. So I'm still in the underpainting process of this painting. You can see it's a very slow process, but it'll be rewarding in the end. You know, I don't have many paintings that I would consider like fine art pieces, even though this is kind of, it's already been a photograph, but this is definitely me trying to like experiment with a new style to see what I would do with, you know, more fine art style of stuff, you know, painting, because I've painted motorcycles and cars my whole life. And never really had the opportunity to do much, you know, in the line of fine art, I suppose. So, like I said, now that we have our own tattoo studio, Eden's Edge Tattoo in Florida, it's given me the time to get back into painting, my own kind of art, things that I want to paint. And I think what we're going to do in the future is, well, I don't think I know, is we're going to do some, like, for those of you guys follow me for a while, I like to use Faith, my girlfriend, for a model, and we're probably going to do some of these where shoe models for me too, and we'll have some original pieces. The vent cover was getting clogged on me. So this paint that I have in the airbrush is a day old, so it's probably not spraying the best. I've been mixing it with 40-30 Intercoat Clear, which kind of lowers the shelf life of your paint. And since I mixed it yesterday, it's not the best right now, but it's still spraying all right. But it was definitely spraying better yesterday. When you mix 40-30 into your paint, you should probably just use it that same day that you mix it. But it definitely makes your paint spray a lot better. So here in a bit I might make a new batch, but I'm trying not to waste my color. Alright. Simtech wants a studio tour. Faith, are we ready for a studio tour yet? Is Faith out there? Oh, she was taking a nap. I'm so tired. Faith, they were asking for a studio tour. Are we ready to do that yet? It's kind of clean. It's pretty clean. So we just opened the shop very recently, Simtech, and we wanted to wait until we had all the the paintings on the wall and all that good stuff before we do the full studio tour. But it's definitely a really nice studio. In fact, the #1 compliment that we get when people come in here is that it's the nicest studio they've seen. So, which is our goal. That was what we were trying to do. But I think we want to wait till it's like exactly the way we want it first, and then we'll take everyone through a tour. A virtual grand opening, Faith just said. He says, "Wake up, Faith." He says, "Wakey up." So Faith always hangs out during these live streams, and sometimes she gets bored and just passes out. We got a pretty comfortable couch out there in the waiting room. I sleep on it quite a bit. So we have like a little lounge room out there that Faith's been really working on. So the whole look of the shop is definitely, it's definitely Faith's eyes, I guess, Faith's vision. There it is. So that's why we're waiting. We want her vision to be complete first. Yeah, it's definitely not spraying well. I might go ahead and mix up a new. You guys notice I got probably the crappiest beard you've ever seen in your life, and I've never actually grown it out to see what it'd even do. That's what I'm doing right now. That's why I look like a scruffy weirdo. I'm gonna see what I can't grow a beard. I've never been able to grow a beard. I'm gonna try it out. So yeah, like this hair is like all of this whole painting so far, like the entire painting has been, you can see how organic everything is. If you start thinking when you're doing paintings like this, if you start thinking about each piece as like, here's some moss, you know, and then you're like, I don't know how to draw moss, you know, that sort of thing, or here's water, whatever, it'll throw you for a loop or whatever. So I guess the advice I would give you is to paint what you see, not what your brain is interpreting. It's that whole concept of like when people would like draw with the drawing upside down exercise. It's kind of like that. Just draw what you see, and then all of a sudden things start just turning into what they're supposed to be. Like this hair, I've never once thought in my mind I'm painting hair. I just paint what I see. And I'm definitely like, I think my strong point is realism, like more of an artist that likes to work from reference, although I do try to not use reference every once in a while. But I'm definitely strongest with reference, which is something I'm working on. I'd like to be more of a paint out of my head kind of person. It's a hard thing to master, or at least to get out of my head about, you know, like, because I get real self-conscious when I start just painting from memory. Simtex says you're painting Hulk for the 5th time and you get so far, then you make a mistake. Dude, I tell you what, if you paint the way that I'm painting right now, you can hardly never make mistakes. I don't, because I use so many layers, and I show that process on my Patreon page. I use so many layers that it's impossible to make a mistake. Like, you can see I'm kind of almost carelessly painting this, but, you know, I mean, I'm still paying attention and all that, but I'm not. There's not a whole ton of pressure to get it right, because I'm going to use another layer and just further refine it. I always say that each step, no matter what it is closer to correct. So those steps that you think where I just messed it up. It's like, no, you didn't. You just got closer to correct.
Just got a quick question. Are either one of you good with like a main life ocean type stuff?
Yes, Ryan